Now, a bit about today, we'll look backward and forward with an evaluation of the last session, this last year's session of Aging with Pride, and a bit about where we might wish to go, where you might wish to go in the future. So if I could have my first slide.
Everybody do an interpretive dance while I get this rolling.
Can we use the?
Well, maybe what I'll
You're on.
tell you something about the Aging with Pride has basically been around as a project of the Edmonton Pride Seniors Group in collaboration with SAGE and the Pride Center of Edmonton for about 5 years. The first year was really spent in calling, I think, most of the major centers in North America to see what examples of success on things like this there were. And Winnipeg, as is so often the case with Winnipeg, seemed to be the city that actually had the most advanced thing. I was surprised to discover that this was, of course, during pandemic, so we were restricted to Zoom and things like that. San Francisco, for example, had a couple of people, and that was it. So we started initially because of the pandemic and persisted for about a year with a phone project done through Senior Centers Without Walls and the primary care network of physicians and other healthcare providers. That never really took off. And when we converted to Zoom 3 years ago, I think we've had certainly a more consistent thing. So when Laurie Winder was with us, and Laurie, by the way, I'm told has a new job, and so we're all happy for that. But when Laurie was with us in January, she did establish a little survey, and I'm going to present the results of this survey. I would say I'm surprised. I don't know who we had about 18 responses, and I don't know about the people who responded who had never been to any of the meetings, but as you can see, 18 out of the attendance over a month's time, I thought was a reasonable result. This, I remember, is in January when we were in the transition, so that a number of people were in fact still nervous about in-person events. So as you can see, there were a large number of people who simply were attending by online sessions, by Zoom sessions. I've been taking the attendance over the months of March, April, and May, and we average 12 attendees. It ranges from a low of 6 to a high of 18, but 12 attendees is the arithmetical average for those months, and overwhelmingly people are coming in person, although there are people for individual reasons who continue to come online, people like Joe, who's out of town, and people who simply find it inconvenient or difficult to get here. All right, what's that, Eric?
Oh, I'm just trying to get rid of the bottom bar.
You seem to have succeeded. But you've also stopped the capacity to advance.
Sorry about that. Again, technical.
So it has basically, since the end, or the slowing down of the pandemic is probably the more accurate thing to say. Since that crisis, the switch really has been to in-person from predominantly things.
You just have to tell me when you want.
Oh, I will tell you. Our entertainment sessions, we've really done 3 a year. At Christmas, we have done a drag show on one occasion, a carol sing on the other. On St. Patrick's Day, Roger Helfrich has done Celtic music. Roger's an expert harpist and a splendid singer. And finally, we have the June strawberry tea. These events are overwhelmingly our most popular. They probably have 40 odd people, at least probably more than that for the strawberry tea, partially because we open it up to everyone and probably advertise more vigorously than we should. What is interesting and what confirms what was my impression, the people who come to the entertainment for the most part don't come to anything else. So I'm not sure what conclusions we draw from that. If I could have the next slide, please. Okay, the quarterly wrap-up series are not particularly popular. This is probably the largest group we've seen for any of the evaluation sessions. So I thank you for coming, because it really is important. And next, please. And that there was an opportunity on Laurie's survey to get particular comments, and I've simply included these without any editorial comment, but maybe I'll make a little bit here. So one of the sorts of things that come to mind, firstly, the often not in town and not being willing to come downtown are important issues, and why I think it's important, if we're going to retain this, to retain the Zoom component. And then the rest you can read for that, and the sorts of things that you would expect that people have on the next slide, please. And this is the second. The third one there, and some of these have more specific ideas, I think, that we need to talk about. We did have a run of rather gloomy subjects, well presented, and actually reasonably attended as well. But at the end of the day, you felt that we were all sort of preparing our caskets rather than anything else. So I think that third comment is a relevant comment. We have had people from the Pride Center, and that's their comment, not my comments. Pride Center is anything but more of them. It faces large challenges. I think you've heard from SJ as a number of things they do. Did someone have a comment that I? No. And political issues, well, we'll leave Michael to talk about that. The whole issue of loneliness is an important one. One of the primary reasons why we set up this group was to try to reach people who might be, and is that my last slide?
That's what, no, we've got the board,
Okay.
sorry, right mouse on the right screen. Okay, these are what we do, part 1 and part 2, what can we do?
Oh, okay, so these are also more comments. The person, there are people who come up. One of the questions that comes up with some of these things really has to do with the timing, both the frequency, the day, and the hour of the day in which we should be holding these. And that clearly is a problem for some people. And the notion of increasing the sort of simply a discussion is an issue. I'm pleased to see that someone who finds it difficult to make it in the morning is actually watching the YouTube videos. That's one thing we really haven't assessed is what use the YouTube videos are actually being put to. And the next one is
This is part two.
again. Downtown is a problem for a whole lot of things, the expense and difficulty of parking, the social disorder around the building. These are, even the suggestion of later in the afternoon, or obviously anyone who is working 11 o'clock on Thursday is probably about as bad a time. As, one
Or
can
like
imagine.
having it another other day too.
Well, I think that's one thing we need to look is either rotating it to various places or simply choosing another venue. The trouble is that we have this very good setup, which we're probably not going to find elsewhere for the Zoom. Giving more details about the guest speaker. We basically give the information that we have, but we should look to do that. The real issue, in my judgment, isn't so much giving the details, it's giving adequate time for people to learn, because oftentimes we're just on the week before announcing and a way of letting people know with a longer timeline what something which may be a particular interest to them will be happening. And finally, this is a comment on the last one. Particularly sexual health. I'm not sure that we necessarily want an hour on erectile dysfunction, but perhaps we do.
Demonstration.
But the general issue of medical and health issues, which may be specific to this community, to our community, is certainly an idea worth thinking about. The issue there is, I think, is finding the person who can actually give out, who has both the time and the knowledge, and that could be tough. And I think that's my last slide.
Just let me have a look here. Let's see.
Okay, well, I did necessary. So thank you all for your input, and I'm now gonna open the floor, and I'm gonna have Michael lead the discussion. And so you had on your sheet the things. What we really like to know is what things did you like, what things did you dislike, what's the time, Thursday at 11, or do we try to move somewhere else? Do we change venue? Do we change the frequency once a month, twice a month, or do we try to continue on weekly? Do we use the TED Talks and other things to fill in, because they've been really quite popular and that they've stimulated a lot of discussion around the table. So I'll turn it over now to Michael.
Okay, thanks. And so the information that you saw, and particularly about things that people might like to see, there were actually quite a few points there that might be of interest that we might want to explore a little bit further. But the notion is, many of you, all of you have been involved at attending sessions and seeing both how they're put together a bit in terms of you get the note about it, about what it's going to be, and then the actual time, and then the special events that we've had, which, as was said, always attract a larger number, which may have something that we want to think about as well, and that maybe more special events might be useful. I'm not saying that we should do that, but I think there's some alternatives we might want to think about. So I think the easiest way to start is to say, maybe think about something that you particularly liked and perhaps a suggestion you have for the future. And I'll just go around and give everyone a chance, and then we'll open it a bit more for all discussion. Plus, I will include the folks that are online. So that we'll be asking what you did kind of think was particularly valuable or you liked. And then a suggestion you might have about for the future. And then after everyone has a chance, we'll open it up a bit more further for general comments or additional comments. So and I'm probably looking at this direction to start with. This direction to start with. And we'll I think we'll start there. Maybe then I will go to the online people and continue around. So Eric, if I can put you on beginning, that would be valuable.
A couple of things. There are options and it always depends on what people want. Sending out the list of speakers, you know, for the quarter in advance. Sometimes we're, you know, a week before our event.
Yeah.
Everybody has life, people get busy. A week before the event, that person might give us a call and say, geez, I'm really sorry, but I can't make it. And so it's a mad scramble to find out who, but we've done fairly good. So that is one thing. I think overall, we've tried to present topics that we think of our general interest to seniors in general, as well as to seniors from the 2SL LGBT community, because there's a lot of things that I don't care if you're gay or lesbian or trans or not. Some things apply to every senior and some things are specific to our community. So I, you know, because I'm one of the organizers.
Yes, I know.
I think we've tried to be fairly well balanced between specifically queer issues and issues that face seniors in general. Did I answer your question?
Any particular suggestion for the future?
For the future, we do have a possibility of meeting at CISA instead, but SAGE is one of our partners. And again, this technology is wonderful here. So
And some other people like me don't have a way to get to other places. Either this is close for me.
What is CISA? Sorry.
CISA is the Southeast Edmonton Seniors Association. It's in the Holyrood neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so anyways, that was it. It's just
Okay.
I can't think of any more subjects.
Right.
Fine.
Good.
I'm done.
Thank you. So I'm going to go to Guy Milner, who's online, and Guy, you'll have to, we can hear you now. So Guy, the question was a little bit, anything you thought was particularly something that you thought went well or liked or whatever, and then a suggestion or two that you have for the future. Thanks. You're on.
Michael, the thing I've appreciated the most is that the sessions are recorded, because there are different life things that mess up me attending. So it can be I forget, or I have an errand to do or a doctor's appointment. And so like
Wait, your voice disappeared.
oh, I'm so glad that there is a recording that I can go back and listen to it. The other thing, I was just reflecting a lot about the time. 11 o'clock to me is in the middle of my morning. So like if I start doing house cleaning or gardening, I'm in the midst of it and I forget about 11 o'clock. So if it was the first thing in the afternoon, it would be a little bit easier for me to kind of remember, because I go, okay, after lunch, that's what I'm going to do next. So that would be a suggestion. Thank you.
All with having it like Thursday afternoons, I do other things here.
Wait, we'll get to it. Hold on.
Yeah.
So thanks, Guy. Jonathan? And yes, unmute yourself as for Jonathan, and then something you thought was that you thought you liked, and then any suggestions you might have.
You. I'm pretty new to the group. I appreciate you letting me zoom in. I'm not in Edmonton, so the Zoom is good for me. Also, I didn't realize till today that it was on YouTube. I guess I should have put two and two together when you were recording it last time I was here. But that's would probably be helpful for me too, in case I have conflicts ever. Yeah, I probably shouldn't make too many comments because I've only been here for 2 sessions. So I'll pass it along though. Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jonathan. Joan?
Hi. So I just want to say I've loved every session, and I've looked forward to every one. The reminders are fantastic. At first I was a little thinking I wouldn't really like the TED Talks ones, but they were great. And as you say, they did good discussion, generated good discussion. The timing, it's okay, but I think I would like to see a different time of day for sure. Even early evening would be nice at, the end of your day. So you're all settled in with your jammies on, The Zoom has been a lifesaver for me, and really appreciate it. And I'm so proud that they are recorded, because I think these are going to go down in history. A bunch of seniors, queer seniors doing this. This is awesome. And it's been, really so supportive of me out here in the boonies. I don't know about anybody else, but just seeing all your faces all the time, it's always with me. The special events were really fun, and I would like to see more of that, the special events, and get together with some maybe dancey kind of music. If you feel like it, you can dance at the back of the room like they did at the Strawberry Tea, or a lot of people just mill around and chitty chat. It's a meeting, it's a gathering, and it's a little bit lively, and it's got a nice vibe to it. So I would say like more of a dance party, not exactly a rave, but some some nice upbeat music over at that end of the room, and over here for people who don't really want to be around loudspeakers or have hearing issues, but you're still all part of it, and people are just moving around. I would also like to suggest that we get rid of the sit-down affair, although seating, of course, should always be an option. But the stand-up table talks, they always work better than crowding people along a table. It just generates freedom and just that vibe. So I would say more of that. But all in all, I've loved it all. And, thank you so much, all of you, for, slogging away, because I know it's a lot of work. I tried to do it, and it was too much for me. I handed it back to y'all, so I totally appreciate the efforts that go into it. So anyway,
Good.
See how it goes. Yeah.
Thanks, Joan. Rachel?
I don't really know what to say. As one of the organizers, it is a lot of work, and as much as people say they don't maybe sometimes love the topics, to be honest, sometimes that's all we can get. It is work trying to put this together, and people don't get back to you, and we have these great ideas and we don't seem to be able to find a presenter, so that's hard sometimes. But I guess what I loved was that the weeks that we did end up having to use a TED Talk or something, or like Joan said, the social events, really that's when you saw the community come together and everyone kind of visit and chat. And I realized that sometimes the stressing about presenters and topics is not such it's important, but I realized that we could even just take it back to the basics, and that people just kind of enjoy the chance to visit and kind of have that community time together. So maybe next season, that is kind of a bigger takeaway, is that, because for me, one of my favorite sessions was, I think it was at best a 10-minute TED Talk, but then the chat after and everybody talking, and I think that was one of the best ones for me. And I had a few people tell me that too. So I think I really enjoyed that part of just watching the community build, and that the people on Zoom can still feel part of the conversation and community, which is important. Yeah, so that's my take.
Good. Thanks, Rachel. So,
And that if anyone actually has a presenter that literally has a name, email, they're ready to go. Like, send it our way. I hate to say it, but as the organizing committee, it is a lot of work. And you're chasing all the time. So like handing us ready to go things would be amazing.
Thanks, Rachel. So, yes, your turn. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed the TED Talks too, and the discussions after. I retired almost a year ago and I was just kind of at sea, so I just really appreciate this group. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, so I'm used to a big community, and I kind of like this small group and the interactions here. It's really helped me out of a rut.
Okay, thanks. You, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to pick up on something that Larry said, the gloomy topics. I actually thought that they were excellent. I think that the information that was disseminated in those presentations was really useful. Estate planning, funeral planning. Sure, it's not, something that one likes to dwell on, but it's also necessary. And if we're talking about aging with pride, end of life things, people get really concerned about. I don't happen to be one of them, but
You will be.
well, no, I'm not going to get old. I mean, it's just that simple, I thought a lot of the presentations were good. There were a couple that I think I could have done without, but that's me. And one of the values in a group like this or a series like this is different ideas for different people. Things that people, other people might really like, I won't particularly, and vice versa. So variety of topics, if you like, is, I think, something we need to continue doing.
Okay, good. So, sorry, Jamie, back to you.
Okay, I'd just like to say, I really enjoyed all of you being so welcoming to me in this group, and I've enjoyed most of the sessions. I ran into Dushko Trivich at an unrelated thing a while ago, and he remembered me from being here with us, and that was quite interesting. But yeah, this group has quickly become one of my favorites. So thank you all for welcoming me into your group.
Any suggestion?
Nothing off the top of my head, but if I think of something, I'll let you know.
Okay. So, you're on.
So we started coming this year, but I never really knew what the mandate of the group was. Like, I've never really understood we do all kinds of different things, but what was the group originally formed for is something I don't know.
Well, you said it, mandate.
Yeah.
Mandate. No. Ignored it.
Actually worked at all.
Actually, the whole idea is just to build connections among seniors in our community.
Okay.
So if you want to meet new people, or if you want to extend a friendship or that sort of thing, that's it. To also, so first is to create connections in the community, and the second then is just to present some information that we think will be helpful to seniors in our community. The two mandates.
Does anyone know what Six Sigma is? Have
Yes.
you never heard of it? Yeah, I'm a Six Sigma black belt. So my mind kind of works like, it's what is the route? Where are we going to? What are we doing with this? And that's where I'm always at. I have a lot of ideas that I think, but I don't know what I didn't know the whole direction of what the group is all about. I think the social aspect is what is really important to me. The sessions have been wonderful. I haven't hated any of them. But I really, as an older gay couple too, we've always been looking to meet people. We don't know very many people in Edmonton. And this group doesn't serve that function in terms of social at all. And I know there used to be a group like Pride Timers or
Prime timers.
Are they still in existence?
Yeah.
And so it's a different mandate altogether.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's something, yeah.
Yeah, but I love the social aspect of the group, and there's been some really great information. The thing that I enjoyed is what Joan was saying too, is to have more time for discussion, because we're always wanting to chat more, and it's over. You know, and again, the time in the morning interrupts, like he was saying, it interrupts my morning too. We have to get the dog ready to park. It's costing me $10.80 to park on the 9th floor. It's not easy at this time of the day downtown to get it to. And I don't understand if we're part of the Pride Center. I don't know. I've never been there, but why are we not there? Is there no space, or is it?
Parking at the Pride Center is not
It is,
particularly a joy either, because it's right across the street from McEwen.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
during the year, all the parking around
In
the
school year, it's.
Oh, yeah. I
very
can
full.
imagine. Yeah,
Yeah,
It does have a fairly good connection to the LRT.
yeah.
At Pride Center. But it
Well-
was more.
Oh,
sorry,
go ahead.
Just,
I-
it was also that Sage offered social work support to
Oh, I think it's
seniors
a great facility.
in our community. It was one of the only senior centers that does provide, you know, a supportive environment for the 2SLGBTQ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're working on the other ones.
Yes.
But Sage right now is that. Okay, go ahead. Rachel.
Thanks.
I was-
Rachel?
Kind of share that same thing. That feedback in the beginning is that we had some seniors that hadn't really officially come out either. And so to actually say they're going to the Pride Center or have their dads drop them at the Pride Center or whatever was a little too much in the beginning, whereas to say they were just going to Sage or a senior center, it was a little easier transition. And then also we had a lot of people that like Eric said, there's the opportunity for joining in social work supports, but then also kind of becoming aware of some of the other rec programming going on and kind of joining in the bigger piece of the community sometimes. So that was kind of all encompassing the reasons.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I'm good. Thanks. Good, thank you.
So you're on, put the glasses on. I understand perfectly.
For the loneliness, it's completely out of my life completely because of this program that I've been part of. And I really commend everybody that allowed me to be here, because I've been really feeling the same feeling. So again, thank you. And it breaks me out of the shyness being here. The special events were incredible. I'm so sorry I missed the strawberry.
yeah.
And that's basically okay. I had a lot of knowledge in getting help with medical issues, and I had very good support as a senior. Eyes were done, stints, a whole list of things that I had done to myself, which I wouldn't have ever had done if I wasn't 65. So anyhow, if there's any question, if there's any information that you want to know about how I got all this done on me, and then I really the next sessions I'll be able to, if I'm able to tell you exactly how I got through that stuff. Next.
Thank you. Yes.
I like this group. I'm the newest member of the LGBT community. The queer community, because I found out I was by 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And I liked every session, especially TED Talks.
Suggestions?
Every session.
Yeah.
I like the supportive environment of this group. And my suggestion is, if Sage opens up wide, you guys will lose the Thursday and find another day to have this group. And keep it in the morning.
Okay. Larry?
I'm gonna be quite specific about my needs. I've been at this for 5 years. I intend to continue attending, but I think I've given you everything that I've had as far as being part of the organizing committee, so I'm going to step away from that function. Of the things that I think really work here, in some ways surprised me, and there are two things. One, picking up on what Grant said, I think I had the impression that simply talking about generic seniors issues in a gay context was helpful for people. So hard of hearing, it doesn't affect just gays, but it was not to have to worry about that you're going to give something away was real important, and that sort of surprised me. I didn't expect that would come out as much. And secondly, I thought in terms of stimulating discussion, the TED Talks really were successful, and I'd really like to see us use those more frequently than we have done now. So those would be I think we should rethink of the time. The evening would be wonderful, but we have people, you know, unless somebody is going to offer their home, and I'm not sure we can do that. Then we need to be sensitive to the needs of people whose workday ends at 5 o'clock and so on. I think, however, that 11 o'clock probably is about as bad a time as we could choose, and I don't remember why we chose it even, but the into the early afternoon might be more a better idea.
So before I just open a little further, I'll just make a couple comments myself. And that too, I think that first of all, that I've the sessions that and I have attended most of them. Have gone quite well in terms of being quite well organized and topics interesting, more interesting than, you know, some topics not as interesting to me, some very interesting. And I think that's part of, you know, being part of anything like that. And with that is also the social element. I must say, being able to see and chat with folks kind of thing is I find very invigorating. I'm you know, I like some of the others here, I live by myself. You know, so a social aspect I think is valuable. In terms of suggestions, I think there are all kinds of possibilities that sound quite promising to me. That I think, for example, there is knowing that there's some of the other senior centers and that we might during a year go to 2 other senior centers for a special event and call it whatever and so that other that people who are at that center would also take part in that one particular one that we had now. And many senior centers have capability of showing stuff online, and we could probably make those a little bit of a learning aspect as well as, you know, something that was, you know, kind of fun or interesting or whatever. And many senior centers are looking for things in that too. They probably, you know, they would probably provide coffee and stuff in that too, if we were only once a year kind of thing that too. So I think that might be valuable. I think that we might want to look at whether they currently, as we do the sessions on you know, every Thursday, that is maybe look at, maybe we want to do sessions like one session a month every month rather than 4 in a row during a month. I mean, maybe that's another thought kind of thing that as well. Obviously that takes work, doesn't work in presentation and that, but including the Christmas one, the tea, and the other one, we have the 3. Yeah, kind of thing in that as well. And if we did something that was was a celebration kind of at another center, that would be another 4th one. And then look at 7 or 8 sessions, individual sessions that were maybe on Tuesdays or I don't know what day of the week in that as well. And that might be another kind of possibility. So that's just another thought.
Yeah.
So, yeah, then I'll open it up to any comments you want to make, and we'll just start, and that you're first. I saw your hand go up.
Getting back to the time issue. How many of the people who have been part of this are still working? It's a seniors group. My sense is that most people are not working anymore. I'm thinking about some of the people who last year were online quite regularly and aren't, and they're all retired. It's, we're never going to find a time that will accommodate everybody.
Right.
It's just not possible. So, it seems that 11 o'clock on Thursday morning isn't a bad time for most people.
Okay, Eric?
Two things before I forget. I have to say what a fantastic partner Sage has been for us.
Yeah.
Amazingly supportive. Rachel giving her time, Jamie giving her time, and the support that we've received that nobody knows about, but the support that we've received from Sage in general, Karen McCall, the executive. They have been a wonderful partner for us. So I just wanted to say that. The second thing is, if we were to go for, and that's what I wanted to throw out, the possibility of one broadcast meeting per month. But the possibility of maybe having, if it is a weekly coffee room, maybe concept of a philosopher's cafe, somebody comes up with a topic and throws it on the table and we just chat around. And
yeah,
if it was me talking, the conversation would go many different areas, aside from the assigned topic. But I'm just wondering if that might be workable, because the whole concept of lining up speakers, making sure we've got the Zoom setup done.
Yeah.
All the rest of it can be quite inclusive, but I love coming here. I love seeing all of you every week. And it's a great enjoyment. So that's.
I like this idea of the philosopher's cafe.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that if there's a topic that, it's Ruth, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If Ruth was really interested in it and she knew somebody who was expert in that field, she could bring that person along. And hey, you've got a presentation, you've got discussion, and it doesn't have to be organized in advance.
So.
And I think it's a great idea, the philosopher. I love that idea a lot. You can bring people with you. And also, if you're going to a coffee shop, they may help in some way sponsoring a coffee for people to have them in there. You're going to create customer flow. So, from a building of membership and a building of neighbor and community, I think it's a great idea.
But one problem with having philosopher's cafe in a coffee shop, people will have to pay for coffee. We get our coffee free here.
But maybe not. We could maybe work something out with them. Because we're occupying their place. We could get that donated. I don't think that'd be a problem.
Or have a philosopher's cafe in a restaurant.
Yeah. Larry?
It strikes me, I know one or two of you very well, and I know a good number of you not at all. And similarly, a number of you, we don't know me at all. So I think some way of increasing the connection between the members of the group, whether that's through something like Philosopher's Cafe or having new people join the organizing committee, even if it's only to bring a friend every once in a while, would be really important in terms of strengthening the group in the long term.
Right.
Is it a nonprofit group? Or are we nonprofit?
Yeah.
We are.
And
can I ask for
even above nonprofit, it's
no profit, So now it's gonna be my next question. Where does money come from for having entertainment for?
Well, we the Edmonton Pride Senior Group, which is now a nonprofit organization, because it never is any profit, but it's actually registered.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of thing like that too. We've gotten some grants primarily from the city, one major grant from the federal government for
Yeah.
projects, and this was one of the ones that we got some money through the federal government to do, and we still have some of that money left in that because this is a cheap venture. Yeah, you know.
Don't call me cheap.
Yeah,
Who you call cheap?
So for example, the only thing we've spent money on is the tea, the strawberry tea kind of thing, that, but this isn't costing us anything money wise.
Yeah.
Kind of thing in that as well.
Yeah.
So that was also one of the factors is something that would not be, very expensive and wouldn't cost.
The
anybody
entertainment,
anything.
the three
You know-
entertainment events are the only things. that-
Yeah.
We belong to a couple other groups, and there's a small membership fee that always goes.
And we've never asked for anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the other groups that no longer exists, but they used to have a cup where you could
Yeah,
put some money in, buy a
donation.
coffee machine if you wanted, and they weren't trying to raise a huge amount, but they
Yeah.
did enough to be able to cover coffee and that too. So, yeah, there are ways to do that.
Yeah, because like we belong to Gay Camping Alberta. I don't know if you guys know about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic group. It's $15 a year,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to me, it's so well worth. That's Eagle Creek camping. It's
Oh,
really a
yeah.
great campsite.
Yeah.
Some friends of mine.
Are they?
Are there, yeah.
Yeah, we go
Yeah,
there. I love it.
When I was mentioning before about doing like going to one other center once a year, what I would envision is that we would have a thing that it was actually a topic that anyone could come to,
Yeah.
and then the celebration. And also whether that might build some additional people that become involved in it, because then they can come or they can watch it on, virtually or whatever. Yeah, I think it's one way. I think the other is that we haven't looked at what, if we did something and we were looking at, just to take, I said once a month or whatever, that we actually advertise that in, like Sage has newsletter that goes out.
Yeah.
Most of the senior centers have that. And so if we had that, we could start to put that information into some of those other places. And then most of them, I don't know whether Sage would charge for putting in there. I don't think so. And most of the other newsletters. for these
We're in
places
their newsletter.
Don't.
Oh, we're in their program, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
it's-
Sage covers our coffee and cookies each week, in case anyone was wondering. That's out of the community animation budget. And then, yeah, it's always in our newsletter and calendar every
Yeah.
yeah.
week on our web.
And I think that it's true of a lot of the others, it's just another way to get word out about either attending or watching online. Kind of thing that too. Yeah.
Building on your idea,
Yeah.
send the posters for our events to other senior centers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm talking about once a year that they had
Yeah.
something like that, kind of thing.
isn't this spring open to other seniors in the community to come to?
Oh, yeah, to come here,
Yeah,
yes. We would only do the once at their place,
Yeah,
and then hope some of them would come here. Yeah, Derek.
Two things. One is, one of our concerns at the beginning was because we used to have an over the rainbow group that met for coffee here at the stage.
Yeah.
But there would never be any more than 2 or 3 people there, which for the 2 or 3 people that were there, very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
But we were a little bit concerned when we started this, that if we just said come for coffee, then people would, if you don't know anybody, it's sort of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
a barrier.
Yeah,
coming in.
definitely
Yeah.
barrier.
But the other thing, and I did a presentation last week at CISA on aging with pride. And there was quite a few, both there and at the Strawberry Tea. There are quite a few people not from the 2S LGBTQ community. And I think that's one of the things that we need to, yes, let's focus in on this, but let's make sure that we keep inviting the other people in, because last week when I did that presentation at CISA, there were a lot of really good questions and comments, so Yeah, that's just
Yeah,
the whole thought.
Right.
Go ahead, Larry.
The seniors residence that I was in actually had a bus reserved to bring people to the strawberry tea. There were only a couple of takers and we needed at least 4 to get it, but advertising to see directly into seniors residences is another
Yeah.
good way of
Yeah.
reaching people. In addition, there are some groups in which we can probably be a little more assertive in our advertising, prime timers,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
grassroots and suits,
Yeah, yeah.
so on, and, you know, I think we need to be a little more active in reaching out in to various venues across the city. And another thing, and I don't know whether it's pie in the sky or not, but it does strike me, particularly listening to Joan, that group of queer people who are in the small towns and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
on.
yeah.
And then since we have a Zoom connection in private, it would be a wonderful opportunity, I think, for those people,
Yeah.
but how to reach them.
That's exactly the problem, yeah.
Right. And I
The
think,
one place we have reached out was to White Corp because they reached out to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any takers, but maybe they can online, I don't know.
yeah. I think that just picking up on your point that you're making, I think it's also that as Joan said, for like the tea, et cetera, and that a lot of people like her come in
Yeah.
for that. And if we did something, and just going back to one event at some other center that, and like if we did it at CISA, for example, which I'm thinking, parking is easy, there's a lot of parking there. And it's just one time, I think we'd find some of those
Yeah.
folks that don't live close to the city would come to something like that once, kind of thing, that as well, and then come online. Yeah, you get that. It's just a thought. So some further thoughts, because we're almost out of time. We've had a lot
One
of.
thing having it at another center, some of us don't drive, I take the bus.
Oh, yeah, yeah. There's all kinds of possibilities. But for people outside of town, I realize that it's not quite as simple. But like Joan said, she came with a couple other friends as well out of town. The one time, those other friends will, they won't be coming, but they may come online.
Yeah, remember we had a guy from Cold Lake who would come
Yes,
down.
yes.
For, the
Yes.
Christmas.
Yeah, getting down for the Christmas one, yeah.
One more thing is really important to revitalize the organizing committee.
Yes, I know that too.
Because I've been with this for several years now. And I know that I should be doing more reach out and more advertising and that sort of stuff, but
Yeah.
between what I do here and some of the other projects that I'm involved in, I'm old. I just don't have the energy to do that, right? And that happens, and so revitalizing the organizing committee to have more people who are available to do more outreach and that sort of thing. I think that would be very, very helpful.
And that's what I was wondering, is why are we not asked to do things?
Yes.
Not big cookies. Just big
That's your
cookies.
job.
Yeah.
Wait, no, you just did it. You didn't wait to be asked. You put yourself out there.
I think, certainly Larry, Rachel, and Jamie. Do amazing work for this, and you have no idea how much work goes on. in the background.
It's pretty intensive.
But it's greatly appreciated, and it's not all on me, it's they do an awful lot, and they're overwhelmed as well.
Yeah. So as we finish up, excited, I know we all, watch the time, and I think it's a benefit, the beginning and an end.
Yeah.
That I strongly support that it isn't just open-ended and, it could go on as long as people stay around and give me a break, kind of thing that, because some of us know when to shut up for a while, and that's gonna be over, quite frankly. But I would like to ask, Rachel and Eric and Larry, if you would do a little summary of some such suggestions that have come forward that we can then mull over it a little bit more.
Eric has been taking.
Okay, good. So, fine, as I think that will be helpful to start looking at a few other decisions, including, and I appreciate that getting information out to others, will take some other things, but we could, find a way to pay for a little of that, so that somebody was doing that kind of thing and getting it out to the groups or whatever.
We actually need a formal communications.
Yeah, but also, if we watched it so that we had stuff, so that we were putting. And that was like for the next 6 months, so rather than, 1 week, this week and next week, and that, I would say, anyway, it's just a thought. So I think. Suggestions are that we. See what we can make.
A little fearful about taking on what looks like an open-ended and impossible project. Yeah. Give us something that you would like to do that has a beginning and an end, and do it. And the rest of us will be there, I think, to support you.
Well, and I think there's, okay. Now, I haven't given an opportunity to anybody that's online. If you have anything further to add, we have a couple minutes. So let me start with Joan. Do you have anything further to add?
No, I loved it all. The time was the only thing I could see, a lot of people might struggle with. It worked for me. I loved all the variety of topics, the fact that it's recorded, it's all good. And the input and the questions and the discussions were fantastic. So really, I have more good to say about it than, criticism,
Thanks,
but
Jonathan.
yeah.
Sorry, thanks, Joan. Jonathan?
You're muted.
Thank you. Very interesting discussion. I probably don't really have anything to add. I think you said this is the last meeting for summer. Have a good summer, everyone. Thank you.
Good. Yeah. Thanks, Jonathan. Guy?
Yeah,
Guy?
I was shy to mention that the most important thing for me was the social connection. What would help me if the sessions were an hour and a half, so it would make going downtown worthwhile. Going for an hour is not so much.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Rachel, anything further to add?
Well, sounds like we need to put Victor to work. I think that's Victor. I can't see to the back.
And to twist the little doggies and flowers. Make some money.
You say that, Guy, because I think that's true. Often our discussion is just kind of going to get going and we say, oh, there's the time, it's 12 o'clock. So maybe that is important. Let it go till 12:30 and then have kind of that end of the speaker, but a chance for discussion after, which would be maybe an important component.
With having it on Thursday, 12:30, like me, I have other things to do here.
But nobody's
Well,
stopping you from leaving early if you have to.
Yeah, we
Okay.
need stuff, Jim. That's what I'm
Yeah.
hearing. Anyways, I do hear that's an important component. So I think maybe, as much as we don't get a lot of feedback from the people not coming, it's important to me to take the feedback of the people that are here and make it the group that they really want and need. So
Okay, good. Thank you. So you all do the ending lines?
Well, listen, I'd like to do that because first of all, the fantastic support from Sage, the personal contribution of Rachel and Jamie. Larry, I know, has worked tirelessly on this and is always a good advisor for us. So just thank you everybody for coming. Really enjoyed meeting everyone. And so it's been wonderful for me. I think on behalf of Aging with Pride, thank you all for attending. And we hope that we'll be able to launch season 4 in October. Circulate some notes and hopefully we can put Victor and Ken to work.
Okay.
And thank you to you two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, I guess we're probably.
Goodbye.
done.
yay, yay, Joe.
Peace out. Love you guys. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Fine.